So as part of my plan to bring back Max in 2023 and to raise enough funds to do so, I'm rereading the 6 existing novels in the series and sharing my thoughts about them with you here. So just a few minutes ago, I finished reading the second in the series, A Death in Valencia, which I must have written, 13, 14 years ago. And actually, as I was reading, it's interesting, as I was reading it, about 3/4 of the way through, I remembered what my original title for it had been. I wrote it as Some Other Body. For all kinds of reasons, because that title to me captured quite a lot of the subtleties that are going on in this book. And the publishers at the time said, no. It's got to be something like, well, not quite as simple and straightforward as A Death in Valencia, but, something along those lines. And we tried to come up with some options. And in the end, they said, well, how about A Death in Valencia? So that's what we went for in the end, which is absolutely fine. But actually, the title Some Other Body, which may or may not have worked, I'm not sure, but it did seem to manage to capture some of the subtleties going on in the novel, as I said. Because on the one hand, it's a novel set against a backdrop of a big debate at the time in Spain about abortion, which has actually kicked off again recently, and as we all know, has kicked off in the US. It's a big hot topic. So abortion was a big question going on in Spain at the time, and there were various sort of rogue police elements who were sort of fighting, trying to push back against abortion and were sort of targeting abortion clinics. It was all a little bit quite fraught, and into all of this, the Pope at the time, Benedict, came to Valencia and visited, and I threw that element in as well, because it was quite extraordinary to see quite how Catholic and conservative the city was. I think I'd only mixed in the sort of more liberal, artistic and bohemian circles of Valencia, and suddenly to see quite how many Catholic conservatives there were in that city was an eye-opener for me, because I think I tended to think of other Spanish cities perhaps as being conservative in that way, not Valencia so much. Anyway, so I threw all these elements in, and obviously the term body, it's about a woman's body, a woman's rights over her body, and, what that abortion is all about in that sense. It also throws in the question of, well, when you're having an abortion, what are you actually aborting? Is it a body? What is it? Is it just a body? What is it, you're actually aborting? There was also a question of of two police forces, because there's a sort of struggle between, well, not quite a struggle, but some sort of a clash perhaps between the Spanish National Police that Max Cámara belongs to and the Guardia Civil on the other hand. And those two police bodies are sort of involved in, that's the big part of the story. And then there's a kidnapping in the novel. The novel begins with the discovery of the body of floating in the water off the beach of El Cabanyal, the body of Valencia's greatest paella chef. But quickly after that, there's a kidnapping of a woman called Sofia Bodí, who runs an abortion clinic in the city. And obviously the Valencian surname Bodí, sounds like the English word body. So all these things were going on in that original title, and they're there in the novel still, just with this other slightly more straightforward title. So all these elements are there in the story, and it's quite a complex book. I think in the first book, as I explained in the earlier video, a lot of what was going on there was I was trying to explain Valencia, because not many foreigners knew Valencia when I started writing this series. I used to walk around the streets of Valencia and not see another foreign person at all. Now you can hardly move in Valencia for foreigners. It's crawling with them. But then, I felt I had to explain Valencia to my readers in a way that I wouldn't have had to have done, say, if I'd been writing about Barcelona or Madrid. And so that takes up a lot of the first novel, certainly the first 100 pages of the first novel. I didn't feel I had to do that with this novel. So it flows a lot better, and I think it benefits from that, because there'll be more subtle elements there, I think, going on, more complex. And I like the way that Max develops over the course of the novel, and he's sort of coming to grips with certain sides of himself. There's a big painful episode in his life, and he doesn't go into that in this novel, but I think he finally comes to grips with the fact that he's going to have to deal with that in this novel, and how that has changed, how that's shaped him, shaped who he is, and created certain aspects of his character that are maybe not quite so attractive. And so by the end of the novel, it's like he's becoming aware of this, and he's sort of saying to himself, right, I can deal with this, or maybe I can start to move forwards on this. And so that I found that really interesting. And then there's the development of the relationship that he has with Alicia Benito, a journalist who we meet in the first novel. She appears in the second novel, and then that becomes this sort of long-standing relationship over the course of the series, which is great. And she will appear in book 7, if that's written this year, obviously. So I just wanted to say thank you once again to everybody who's already donated. We're doing really, really well. There's about 3 weeks left of this crowdfunder campaign. So please, please, please be as generous as you can and follow the link below, and we can together bring back Max in 2023. Thank you, thank you, thank you.